Hey, what's up? Zach here, and today I've got a head-to-head of the Curry Flow 9 and Nike PG6. And what I find really interesting about these shoes is they have somewhat similar setups in the midsole and kind of underfoot. However, both these go about that setup in completely different ways. So I'm super excited to get into both of these and kind of go through the differences of these shoes. Both of them super tech heavy, just not to the naked eye. And as is always for any of my basketball, tennis, running shoe head-to-heads, 4 categories, 5 points each: speed, comfort, durability, and playability, total out of 20, plus a fit comparison. Now, starting off with speed, both of these shoes kind of produce speed in a similar way. They're both pretty light shoes, they're more minimalist, and the foam in them is both ridiculously bouncy plus a stiff shank. So none of these shoes are super aerodynamic like the Zoom Freak 3, however, they almost kind of bounce through the court, and so you get a lot more speed off of one foot, or when going side to side, or making more unique basketball type movements, right, with like your Euro step or things like that. Neither of these shoes are the greatest in a straight line. I'd say the Curry Flow 9 is a little bit better than the PG6 in that. However, both of these are great for tight cornering and kind of getting yourselves out of really tight jams or outworking somebody with footwork, just because the shoe is so easy to kind of get out of your own way in. And so for speed, I'm going to give both of these a 4 out of 5, just because the straight line speed in both of them isn't the greatest in the world. However, in terms of, like I said, side to side movements and quick movements, nothing better on the market. Now, comfort is where these two shoes kind of start to diverge. The Nike PG6 is one of the most comfortable shoes I've ever put on. The React foam underneath your foot is super plush and comfortable. It's a little more of a boxy setup shoe. The heel is just a tad wider. The forefoot is made just a little bit more of a boxy wide last, so it accommodates a lot more different feet. And the uppers are very plush, especially the tongue in them. It really kind of feels like a skate shoe on top. However, the Curry Flow 9, a little bit different story. Now, flow foam is incredibly soft and comfortable underfoot. However, because the uppers are this really strong woven material, they can really constrict your foot from the top, especially if you are somebody with a higher arch. So just expect a little bit more of an extended break in on the Curry Flow 9 uppers, just because they are so constricting. They're almost kind of like a slip knot on the top of your foot. And so that being said, for comfort, Nike PG6, easy 5 out of 5. Curry Flow 9 is a 3 out of 5 because once you do break them in, they actually are very comfortable. Getting into durability, this is kind of a tough one to assess. Now, the Under Armour Curry Flow 9 does have incredible durability in the midsole foam. It is incredibly resilient because Under Armour Flow Foam is just super resilient. It's made of the same material as diaper elastic, which you can tell with a baby running around all day, stays really elastic and kind of stays on their body. Same thing with Flow Foam. It definitely keeps its shape even if you are a super heavy athlete underneath of it. Plus, it has this ultra long shank stress shielding it going all the way along the shoe. So it definitely holds its shape really well. The bad part is that the underside of it, the outsole, there really isn't an outsole to it. It's just an underside of the Flow Foam. The tread depth isn't really all that deep, and so if you're playing on outdoor courts or even just indoor courts, this really can start to wear down pretty quick. Now, in contrast, the PG6 has an outsole rubber, so if you get the EP version or engineered performance version, you're going to get a pretty durable outsole rubber. And what I like on the PG6 is it definitely has different types of rubbers in the outsole tread. So on the outside of the shoe or lateral side, if you're really pivoting hard, you're actually going to get a little bit more shielding of that rubber. Now, the problem with the PG6 is it's made of an entire bed of React foam, which is incredibly responsive, incredibly bouncy. The only problem is over time, React foam will start to break down. The good part about that is it does have a really stiff shank that is going to stress shield it. And so for durability, I'm going to give the PG6 a 4 out of 5. Number one, because if you buy the EP version of the shoe, it's going to last you a really long time, even outdoors, and because you can put an orthotic in it to really extend the life of that React foam, and because I've actually had a pair of these for a while now that I've actually been wearing, and I've had no bottoming yet. So I think the engineering of the React foam is a little bit better in the PG6 than, say, some of Nike's running shoes. However, for the Under Armour Curry Flow 9, I'm going to give these a 3 out of 5, just because the outsole tread just starts to wear the minute you put them on. There's really no honeymoon period with these. So even though the uppers on these are some of the most durable we've seen and some of the most stable, especially for a minimalist shoe, you just can't get over the fact that the treads here stamped into the Flow Foam are going to start cratering pretty quick. But most importantly, in terms of playability, both of these shoes kind of occupy the same space. Very nimble shoes made for very nimble and agile footwork. I mean, just look at who endorses both of these. The only problem I would say with the PG6 is it is not the fastest shoe, like I said, in a straight line, and it's really not the most beefed up shoe in the uppers. Yeah, it is very plush and comfortable and padded in the uppers, but it's definitely not a shoe like the LeBron 19. So if you're a big center in these shoes, you might just want something a little bit bulkier under your foot. Now, the problem with the Curry Flow 9, remember, this is made for a perimeter player, it's made for a guard, someone just really needs agile footwork. The problem with that is there almost is a learning curve to this shoe, especially because of the Flow Foam stamp underneath of it. So if you have impeccable footwork, yeah, these shoes are going to do really well, and if you really know how to use these shoes, they're going to do really well. However, if you're somebody that just doesn't have very elite advanced type basketball footwork, the Flow Foam actually just might be a little bit less tacky than you're used to, and you might get a little bit more degrees of freedom than you're kind of used to in a standard rubber setup. But I would say if you're a player that doesn't like that really super tack outsole grip, you want a little bit more give in your shoe, the shoe to kind of give you just a little bit of freedom underfoot, the Curry Flow 9 is going to be a lot better for that because it does grip the surface. It just grips it with surface area contact. So it definitely takes a little bit more heat and a little bit more pressure to kind of get the shoe to grip into the court, really flowing, you know, no pun intended, that type of footwork on court versus some other people that like that really super tack type grip where they can really make more ankle breaker moves. So it just kind of depends on what your footwork is of which one of these shoes you're going to like to play in more. So in terms of playability, PG6 to me gets a 5 out of 5 just because for what it is, it's the best out there. The Under Armour Curry Flow 9, a 4 out of 5 because, like I said, for the right player, these are probably one of the best out there. It's just that you have to be that right player to really enjoy the shoe and to get the most out of it. And in terms of fit, you know, in the PG6, pretty much anybody can go true to size. If you're a narrow or medium, just go true. If you're a wide, you could probably still go true up to a 2E if you want a 1-to-1 fit. However, just get the EP version if you're a 2E and you can go true to size. Over a 2E, go up half size. On the Curry Flow 9, if you are any bit of a wider foot or a higher arched foot, you better be going up that 1/2 size because the uppers are so constricting. I mean, they are really supportive and very durable, but they do take a while to break in. So these shoes definitely aren't a 1-to-1 in terms of fit, even though they do kind of look the same from the outside. And I will just say one thing, if you are an ankle sprainer, I probably would go for the PG6, even though Steph Curry, who is a chronic ankle sprainer, plays in the Curry Flow 9, which is something that's always like really confused me. He was always walking around in ankle braces with a Curry Flow 9. To me, these are just not great shoes for ankle sprainers, and I'm not really sure what that is. I would love to ask him that question sometime if this channel ever gets big enough where I have the opportunity. But if I could say anything about both these shoes, it's kind of the highest compliment I can give them. It's that both of these shoes have just incredible technology in them that really isn't all that apparent. It's pretty simple design, both the Curry Flow 9 and the PG6. To the outside, just look like pretty basic basketball shoes. However, on the inside of them and just the materials used and how they are used, it is just real quantum leaps in terms of basketball and just sneaker technology in general. So honestly, if you're looking for a great shoe with simple, really effective technology, and both of these are huge wins, obviously. And speaking of all that technology, if you want to take a deep dive into the Curry Flow 9 or Nike PG6, make sure you click into this playlist up above and subscribe down below. Respect your rubber and foam. I'll see you in the next video.